Joey is back. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too.
So much has changed, is the same, is so much exciting stuff since last time we spent time together on this podcast. I'm, besides the fact that I just think you're the coolest dude ever, I also, so much has happened in the world. Last we spoke was in COVID on the show,
Yes.
and so much has changed. We had the first ever sugar conference, which I'm so excited about, that our industry put together. And it was all sugar companies and sugar pros and people who wanted to be sugarers, which I know is not your world. But
I kind of wish it was though.
I know, right? Well, you can come get sugar, Joey.
Great.
So, or send your wife in. Anyway, so what my presentation at SugarCon was about the future of sugaring, and I have a sugar bot now. It's so cute, little tiny sugar bot, and so we were talking about AI and as it relates to the future of sugaring, right? Because there's lots of new innovations in our products, but we have to really be savvy about the future of our businesses. And so we talked about AI, we just talked in general about prompts and how they can help businesses. But let's dive a little bit deeper as it relates to the legal piece. And I mean, we weren't even talking about AI last time I talked to you. So get us up to speed on AI as it relates to our businesses and what we have to be looking out for.
Yes, I will say that I have so many things that I love about AI. I am definitely a power user in our ChatGPT account. Um, and it's interesting because who knows what AI is going to look like 10 years from now, 12 months from now, next week, exactly. But I do want to report on the current state of AI as it is to legal because I, I myself am going to ChatGPT and asking questions saying, okay, you're a board of advisors, you're my PR expert, you're my XYZ. What do you recommend that I do?
Yeah.
And one thing that very much still appears to be the case is that ChatGPT specifically and AI in general um, really tries to give you the answer that you're wanting to hear. And so a lot of times with the legal side, there's this sense of like, hey, I want to do this. Like, is it allowed? And when you ask questions in that way, then ChatGPT tends to make up loopholes, YZ.
Oh, you're so
Um,
smart, sugar mama. Yes, you absolutely can.
Yeah, well, and I think there's also so much bad information online about the law and specifically about trademarks
Yeah,
that when AI is scraping all of that data, they're not looking just to what attorneys have said on the topic.
sure.
And as we've talked about, Shannon, in so many ways, trademark law goes against common sense and against what you think would be the case.
Yeah.
And so sometimes if you're even kind of getting your terminology or vocabulary wrong when you ask it stuff, it might tell you something that is actually way.
Okay. I see that.
All of that being said, that was one of the huge reasons why I wrote the book that I wrote, Legally Legit.
Okay.
So this is oh man, 200-ish page book that uh, in a lot of ways is like if you liked the podcast episode that Shannon and I did, this
By the
is just
way, number one podcast, Joey.
amazing.
One sugar show. Apparently, sugar pros need legal advice. They want to be legal strong in their business, which is why we're bringing you back. So kudos to you for making number one on the Sugar Show podcast. And let's do it again. Let's
So
beat.
honored. Yes, yeah, let's see if we can beat it. So this book is a really great complement to that podcast episode. This book covers everything from LLC formation, contracts to trademarks. Just by getting the book, you get a free copy of my contract templates.
Oh, that's
So
huge.
a really easy, no-brainer option.
Yeah. But we're going to link to that in the show notes so that everyone has access to it.
Awesome, great. So question about that's the big thing that we're looking at is like we know people are using it, we know business owners are using it, and you still have to be very careful and make sure that you're getting a second opinion. We actually just recently added language into our client contracts or engagement letters that say, hey, if you are using this stuff, um, AI, ChatGPT, please send us anything any responses that you're getting, that you're taking action on, so that we can help recommend, what's worth following and what's not worth following.
Because
Um,
I imagine for some folks, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. They're worried about what they can do. They need to sleep at night. Like they're going to just jump on chat real fast and be like, is this possible? Is this trademarked? Da, 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 da. Which is fine for like that kind of top surface level curiosity.
sure.
A lot of people are just curious about question, and they don't want to pay a lawyer $200 to tell them yes or no initially.
Right.
I think audience, you need to really hear that's fine for the initial curiosity, but not for the action and the reaction and the facts. So it's really, really critical. Joey, I'm sure you're seeing all the time that people are trying to like kind of diagnose themselves before they call you.
Absolutely. And I love that you talk about that in terms of diagnosing themselves before they come to us, because Shannon, you and I have talked before about that free trademark database
Mhm.
that exists online. I think since we talked, they've had a major update to that online tool. And so in some ways, it's now easier to use that platform to search for what trademarks are available and what
Mhm.
aren't. But because it's gotten so good at finding potentially similar marks, it can
Mhm.
also be very confusing to look at.
Sure.
Before the database got an update, if I searched for indie law, only my trademarks would come up.
Mhm.
Now, if I run a search for indie law, like thousands of results pop up that are all kind of similar, but they don't exactly say indie law.
Mhm.
And
Let's
so
talk
it's
about that
becoming
for a
harder
second.
to know, okay, what's too similar and what's not.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second because I think a lot of people think, oh, let's take my name, Sugar Mama. It's trademarked. You helped me do that. Thank you. And there's a lot of people that say, oh, well, I spell it different. Oh, well, I put, the in front of it or apostrophe S
Yep.
or, it's Sugar Mama body care or something, And let's talk a little bit about that as someone's kind of doing their initial research. We talked about this in the first podcast, but that was quite a while ago.
This is one
Fresh.
of the number one things that I want to communicate with business owners. So I'm glad you bring it up. Yeah, you're right. And I get it. Business owners and people in general, we've gotten used to what I call like domain name thinking,
Yeah.
where
You
if the
just
domain name is taken, we make one of those slight tweaks that you talked about, an S at the end, a the at the beginning, like descriptive phrase at the end of it.
yeah,
That might be enough to get you the, but it's not seen as distinctive enough for the trademark office to give you the trademark.
yeah,
Um, and there are tons of examples. It's actually the most common reason for an application to get refused is because it's seen as too similar. And the question is not, are these marks, uh, it's could a customer that is really familiar with one of the brands see the other one and think that there might be a common source or relationship between the
yeah,
two?
yeah. Let's talk a little bit about kind of timing of a trademark because I think some people feel as though they got in and got the trademark, right? But another company might have had it for the name for 30 years in business. Like, talk to me a little bit about like
Yes,
nuance.
it's so backwards logistically in so many ways, but the way that it works is technically speaking, the first brand to claim that business name, that logo, that slogan owns the trademark, regardless of who filed first or who got it registered first. But when you get your trademark registered, it gives you really strong evidence of ownership. And so, practically speaking, the sooner you get a registration for your trademark, uh, the the more easily you can play defense if your branding rights ever get called into question.
Yeah, for sure. And how easy is it? Well, it's easy as a relative term, right? How easy is it to like fight for your trademark once you've spent all that time and money getting it and you've really cultivated your brand and then someone comes on the scene with a similar name and is just using it without doing their due diligence, like is it becoming a little bit easier to stand up for yourself, and say, oh no, this is my trademark. How are you seeing any changes in that?
Yeah, it's significantly easier to defend yourself when you have those registrations in place. even then, they don't enforce themselves. And so um, we are always working with businesses, small brands, big companies, to get clear with them. Okay, if you put your ego to the side,
Mhm.
what is the measurable cost and impact of this copycat existing?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing for us to send cease and desist letters, and usually, if they are an accidental infringer, a good person, they'll see that and they will apologize profusely and change their name. But if they're a bad actor, if they're an intentional copycat, if they just say screw you, then you do have to take additional legal steps that cost time and money and energy. And so, but before I just take my client's money to do those enforcement steps, I make sure that there is a good business reason for us doing that.
Yeah. I think this starts to feel really overwhelming.
Yes,
But this is doing business, folks. And a lot of sugar pros are solos. They just, maybe have started their own treatment room, like the one I'm sitting in. And this is their only space and they figure, oh, nobody will notice. And then they work, hard and do all this branding and they realize, oh my gosh, I never checked to see if someone trademarked this sweet name, this sugary name.
totally.
And, we're Joey and I are here to tell you, like, please look it up. Please work with someone to make sure that your name is protected because that's so much investing. And, your town might know you as that name and
Yes.
you have to change it. And that would really be a bummer for your business. So we shouted at the rooftops. This is why you need to have a trademark, right?
Yes. Yes. And there are, as of this year, new reasons why it's more important than ever to get trademarked and how it really gives your business a distinctive advantage in the marketplace.
Okay. You wouldn't tell me what that was before we push record. You said, I want you to wait and I want to see your
Yes.
reaction so Joey, the question is, what is changed and what is the future as it relates to trademarks that we have not heard from you yet and
Yeah.
that you have discovered?
So I'll just set the context here.
Okay.
Um, Earlier this month, I went to a business coaching conference. Sharon and I both love James Wedmore. I went to one of his events.
Shout out to James, my
We love
mentor.
James.
Love him.
And there was an entire session dedicated to a problem that a lot of business owners are having,
Mhm.
which is you sending emails to your customers or your audience and it landing in their spam
Okay.
and low open rates, low click rates. And it's
Right.
getting harder than ever for you to send emails to people knowing that it's going to end up in like their primary inbox.
Yeah.
What if I told you that getting trademarks would allow you to always show up in your customers and your audience primary inbox? It's
Okay.
happening.
Hold on. Let me wrap my brain around that. So I have a trademark on the sugar mama. So if I send out emails now, if I have what does it take? What does it take for me to oh, I'm
So,
getting excited.
right? So
Okay.
here's how this works.
Okay.
Gmail now has a blue verified checkmark
Oh, okay.
feature. And if you look closely in your own inbox, you might even see now that certain big companies have this blue mark next to it. Similar to Facebook and Instagram and everything else about getting that verified check.
Okay.
But Google has done something different. And they've said inside Google, if you want this verified mark, the only way to get it is to trademark your logo.
That's incredible.
So now, if you have your not just business name, but business logo trademarked and registered,
Okay.
then it allows you to get certain certificates online
Okay.
showing that you're a special type of verified business.
Okay.
And once you set this up properly, then not only you, but everyone on your like email workspace team, all of the emails that you get sent out will have that blue verified mark, and it'll force your emails to go to their principal primary inbox.
That's huge. I mean, it's brilliant, really. Thank you. technology, right? Like
It,
before it was like, why get a trademark? Who cares? It has a little R. You can always put TM and fake it. Like, like
yes, I love that I'm talking to a pro, but Shannon, why I love this so much is everyone and their great grandma is starting a business right now, and there's such saturation in the space that platforms and vendors like Google and Facebook are trying to figure out how can we give preferential treatment to the more legitimate brands that are out there. And they're looking to trademarks to say, prove your legitimacy.
that's awesome.
And so it's no longer about high follower counts or who's an influencer or who knows the right person in Facebook to rub shoulders with for them to give you the badge. It's no, we're going to look to trademark registrations for proof of you not being a spam business.
That's awesome. Thank you to those of us who've been doing it by the book this whole time.
I know, right?
It pays to be a good person who follows the rules.
Yes. But and not only that, now it's such a great marketing advantage. I mean, um, yes, it takes money and time to get your logo trademarked, to go through these different certification processes, to get everything uploaded with Gmail and like your website DNS settings. But if this now gives you 100% rate of your emails hitting people's inbox, it's so worth it.
Game changer. Because how many, I mean, in the past, we are like, how do we get these rates up? How do we get it so people, our stuff doesn't go to spam? You try every little trick under the sun, and then everybody else tries the same tricks, and then they get
Exactly.
junk also. So this is huge. And, I think it really helps people to understand like the importance of it and that this is really a business. This is part of the cost of doing business. This
Yes.
isn't just throw a sign in front of your store and you can be whoever you want. This is, hey, there are steps that you have to take in business, and now it's being recognized. Like that is so key.
Yes.
So key. I love this. Um, so what else? What else? Tell me what else.
Well, that was the number one thing that I wanted to share. Um, it's I just think that that is a really big sign of a new wave that's going to happen with, we talked about AI earlier. It's not just everybody is starting businesses. It's like they're being mindful of AI companies popping up and a real flood of people's inboxes and things like that. And so it's to your point, I think it's just now it's one thing to own a business and launch a business, and we have all of these tools that didn't exist 5 or 10 years ago that make it easier for people to enter into the market space. But taking these steps of legitimacy, whether it's trademarks or other things, are things that not every business owner is willing to do. And so it allows you to more easily get to that next stage.
Yeah. I could literally talk about this for hours. I do have a question that I haven't asked you yet, and it's not on
Please.
our wasn't on our planned list. I was at a party the other night, and a friend of mine writes music and created a banging song that is amazing, all AI.
It's
The
crazy.
speaker's AI, like everything's AI. And then I was thinking about my own courses, my own trainings, and literally anyone can just copy my voice and copy my face, and they can, you know, somehow magically and mystically, Shannon will be, teaching some sugar class she never ever taught before. Do trademarks help with that? I mean, gosh, like that's just like this abyss of like, who do you go after, right? I guess you have to try to figure out who.
Yeah, yeah. So that's less of a trademark issue than potentially a copyright issue.
Okay.
Um, I do think that it's going to be a while before courts rule on specific issues of what's allowed and what's not. But it's interesting to look at platforms and vendors and see the way that they are handling AI stuff. And so, for example, if you go to Amazon, uh, their like self-publishing tool to publish a book, it'll ask you, was this book written completely without AI? Was it just completely written with AI, or was it written with SE with AI's help, but like improved and revised with a human.
Hmm. Okay,
And
good. Because so many people like, oh, you wrote Legally Legit. Is it
I
ChatGPT?
know, I
Oh,
know. I will say though that and you might already know this, Shannon, but there is a sneaky setting inside of ChatGPT where if you don't know to turn it off, it will use that to help others.
mm.
So indie law, as well as like, any type of content planning that I'm doing, I want to make sure that I'm not just giving others in my space great stuff that ChatGPT will give them in the future.
Well,
So
you're
I
right.
make sure that I turn off that setting, so that ChatGPT as a whole isn't like learning from what I give it.
So incredible. Just what we're seeing. Are you seeing? I think you're going to see a flood now that we're back on the air with you, but are you seeing beauty people coming into your space? Like there was a push when we first started, right?
Yes.
Because we talked about it a lot. And are you seeing beauty people? And if not, like what's the message to the beauty world if they're not really trademarking their businesses, right? Like,
Yeah. The trend that I'm seeing that I'm excited about is the beauty industry that I've seen is starting to do what other industries are doing that I'm seeing, which is there are more and more like really weird names that are popping up. Shannon, I can't remember if I gave you this example in the past when we talked, but like if you go to a restaurant or a microbrewery and you look at their different beer options on the menu, they have the weirdest names.
right?
And that's not just them being creative companies, it's they legally have to come up with such outside of the box names so that they don't get hit with a cease and desist letter with any of the names of the beers. And I think we're starting to see people in the beauty industry wake up to that reality as well and very intentionally say, I'm going to come up with a name that is really hard for anyone else just to think of in the space.
Yeah, because sweet taken, sugar taken,
Right.
sugar mama taken, like, all these names that
Purple
are
kangaroo, probably not taken.
great, but quiznically sweet or something, like nobody knows what the word quiznically is, I just made it up, but
Right.
like you almost have to really be thinking that way so that you can
Yeah.
steal your name.
Well, what we're seeing that is really exciting is sure there are people that just come up with like made up names and there's a whole marketing difficulty that you then have because like no one can spell it correctly, no one knows what it means. But we're starting to increasingly work with very cool brands. And I want to give an example so I'm not calling anyone out, but like what you just like have always been resonating with like
Okay.
and heat, or there's a certain type of national park that you love, or your spirit animal is uh koala or something. Koala Sugaring Company, but they come up with some word that has that also kind of makes sense as a sugaring space. And
Okay.
then their whole brand has that visual of koalas or bears or whatever. And so it's I mean, we recently helped a company, I won't give the industry, but they picked tortoise as their brand name. And even though the name tortoise has nothing to do with the product that they sell, it allows them to really lean into this visual in a cool way. And so they're the only turtle themed business in their space.
Okay. Fair enough.
And even though that might not make um, a lot of like cute or clever sense as you're building up your marketing, um, there are tons of opportunities for you to lean into that and know that over time, when people think of that flavor of a brand, they're going to think of you. And I mean, what are the chances that someone else is going to randomly come up with that unless they're intentionally trying to copy you?
Right. I love that. So we need to start thinking out of the box and not just sticky sweet names and sugary names, but
Right.
something, palm tree sugaring, or I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking like there could be like okay, sugar, sweet. Could there be like a candy or a chocolate sugar?
Mhm.
But you lean into other things that are sweet.
Right. Yeah. And it'll be easier to find your trademark. It'll be easier to protect yourself. It'll be easier to theme it.
Yeah, or even like
Color.
salty. Like our
Yeah.
name is Salty and we're a sugaring company.
Right.
Like I think there are just cool, like memorable things that are distinct,
Yeah.
but still
Sure. Sure.
and that's where there's still an infinite number of trademarks available.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Joey, help the audience to understand. So they've decided on, we'll just use Koala Sugaring Company, just because that's the term you used. I don't even know if there is one.
Cool.
And they decide, okay, I really want to open my own little sugar room. I'm just a mom and pop, little just me. How important is it for that person to get a trademark early and now? And kind of what are like the broad steps to make that happen? Like, how can you be of help to them? Not like you teach a course about this, but what are the kind of broad things that they should be doing from, I just laid awake at night and realized I want it to be Koala Sugaring Company. And then now what? What's the next step for them?
It's a good answer, Shannon. And I say this with all of the love and empathy that I can muster. For it to stay small and tiny and just you, then there's probably a lot to do.
Mhm.
Um, because at the end of the day, if stuff gets thrown at you, if you receive a, like there's not a real large cost to it. And so I want you to aim higher and build a business and a set of assets that are actually at risk of protection.
Scale that. I mean, you
Yeah.
never know. That was kind of where I was leading you to, at the end of the day, like I was just one little person. I was the sugar mama in upstairs on Sutter Street in Folsom. Like I was the mom of two small children. I didn't know it would be this whole big thing. Like I had no idea I'd be on stage speaking and doing all that, right? And if I didn't protect myself then I've been doing this for 16 years, right?
Yes.
Like, that's a lot of ground to cover. So even start now, dreamer of Koala Sugaring Company,
Yeah.
because it could be
Yes.
big. You never know.
And I would say start now, regardless of what that start now means. If you're understandably on a budget, totally fine. You do not have to work with a law firm. Um, as Shannon knows, we have a DIY trademark course. My book has lots of step-by-step instructions on what you can do if you want to do it on your own. But don't think that it has to be so expensive that you can't move forward with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And take the steps, go ahead. I mean, you definitely, I will say, I don't want them to skip the step of at least making sure that no other koala sugaring exists. At least look,
Sure.
right? Like at least start with that. Then you can at least sleep at night and go, okay, I'm not picking somebody else had dreams of koala sugaring company, right?
Yes.
So at least start with checking out to see if it does have a trademark already. Then you're not
Yes.
picking yourself and go, okay, this thing's been around for 10 years before me. Like, duh, why didn't I look?
Yes.
You got to at least start with that. And then, save your money if you can't afford, the filing fees and such. Just save your money each month and get to a place where you're getting bigger and it's really smart to lock down that name.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so they're getting a little bit bigger. They can afford a trademark. What's kind of the big picture thing they do? Do they just start searching or do they contact you?
So there's a DIA work with an expert route and a middle cheap route that you probably don't want to use. So I I do want to be transparent that there are options like LegalZoom out there. We just transparently fix a lot of their messes. Um, there are reason why those types of services are so cheap, and it's because you get what you pay for. So I would much rather um, see business owners. Um, if you're going to pay a company that just forms fills out a form for you, then just fill out the form yourself.
Right. That's what I did. I did your course and I did it myself. And
Yeah.
then I got some assistance from you just to make sure I was doing it right. And that was easy
Yeah.
and done the right way.
Hmm.
So, okay, so you want them to check in, do the DIY course, just got to see what, if they can do it themselves. And if there's something that's a little, more tricky, then can they call your company? Like, how does that work?
Yes, you can always reach out to us after you've purchased the course, if you purchase the course, and we will be happy to credit what you paid for the course to our one-to-one packages.
Yeah. And you know what? It's so worth just doing it the right way the first time, y'all. It is so worth it. And then you have that peace of mind. I mean, no one has contacted me and said, you must cease and desist because they know that I'm actually the one with the trademark, you know?
Yes.
So I can sleep at night knowing that I've done the right thing, by my business, which is really great. And now I'm even more excited that I did it the right way because now I will be first in the inbox. I will be,
Isn't that awesome?
it's brilliant. I don't know if, told the powers that be, you should do it via trademark, but clearly somebody
Right.
else is great.
No,
So
I'm just as a not just a trademark attorney, but as like a brand protection strategist,
ah,
it's very cool for me to see um, companies like Google looking to trademarks
yeah,
to gauge the legitimacy of the brands that are working with those platforms.
yeah, I love it. Joey, your book is going to be in the show notes. All the ways to get in touch with Joey are going to be in the show notes. Leave comments, y'all. Like, this is how we do this. We can even get on an Instagram live, Joey and I together, and
Would
talk,
love to.
right? Like, we didn't have that back in the day, really, like they do now, And so, ask the questions in our community, our Sugar Tribe community. Ask these questions, and Joey can jump in and answer them. And because we want to make sure that you are the smartest, sweetest sugar pros that you possibly can be. And our job is to make sure that you learn the right way so that you can protect yourself, not only with strong skills in sugaring, but also with legal protections and being strong in your business as well. So, Joey, as always, it is so fun to hang out with you.
Same. Oh, I'm so glad we found the time, Shannon.
I know, I know. And again, ask Joey any questions that you like. We will make sure that they get answered. And hopefully, we will have maybe another update podcast in the relatively near future. And you
At
can
this rate, probably.
yeah, just keep coming
Awesome.
back and sharing with us the cool stuff.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Joe.